Fly Punch Boom is the most fun I have had with a fighting game all year. No, scratch that. This is the most fun I have had with any game all year. Thank you for the review key. You play as the punchies, immortal sexless beings that reproduce only through combat. When two powerful punchies fight, their fist meeting can generate enough energy to create stars and galaxies. But if it's even more powerful than that, a new punchie may be born, with the best qualities of the two whose power created it. With lore like that, the combat has to live up to it, and honestly it does. This game is anime as heck in all the right ways. From being able to launch a volley of fists into your opponents, to clashing to determine whose strength will surpass the other, and destroying countless planets in your wake. You can launch powerful meteors straight out of Dragon Ball, perform devastating kicks that send your opponents flying, and so much more. There are 5 stages with vastly different things to use against your opponent and have used against you. Whether you're feeding them to fish, punching them into the dark side of the moon, or watching them get eviscerated by a space station that leaves nothing behind, there are tons of different fatal ways to end the life of those foolish enough to challenge you. With 8 characters unlocked from the start, and 2 more that can be unlocked later, there is a playstyle for practically everyone. Whether you want to have an upper hand in the button mashing segments, or have powerful strikes that overwhelm your opponent if they decide to use the same move as you, whether you want to blast across the arena at devastating speed, or fire bones at your enemies from multiple directions, everyone has different strengths that need to be taken into account. Whenever clashes begin, there are 3 options to choose from. You can attack, counter, or throw. If you choose the same as your opponents, a variety of things may happen, but the quicker and more accurate among you will normally gain the upper hand. If you choose not to attack when your opponent hastily countered first, then you can taunt and fill a bar for one of the powerful attacks like the kick I mentioned earlier. If your opponent counters, you can throw and send them flying into buildings, icicles, fish, and anything else that could be in your path. If they attack, then you can counter and embarrass them, leaving you with time to dish out hits and turn the fight around. Everything is a weapon, but everything can also be weaponized against you. Choosing what's worth the risk and what isn't is a huge part of the game, with power sources showing up to help fill that attack gauge and can turn the tide of battle if you choose to go after it. In whose favor, it's hard to say for sure, as your opponent is most likely gonna go there too, and the obstacles between the two could be vastly different. So it's up to you to decide if boosting your gauge is honestly worth it. There are superpowers that act as ultimates and are also unique to each character. This gauge fills over time during combat, whenever you are attacking or being attacked, and it is activated automatically whenever it's full. That's the speed, the strong hits, the mashing multiplier, etc. Again, it varies differently depending on the character, so it'll take some trial and error to decide what's best for you. There's also a teleport mechanic, and I'm not entirely sure what it's similar as. I guess it's kind of like the Naruto Ninja Storm games, except you can't use it while you're being attacked. You can just use it to get out of the way before the attack hits, or you can use it while you're attacking, kinda like you can do in Jump Force, to get behind your opponent and keep the combo going. There is one character whose actual ultimate ability has to do with teleportation, so whenever that character is on the field, they can teleport behind you and just keep up the momentum, keep up the combo, and can be absolutely devastating if you don't get out of the way, or they don't miss because of how frenetic and chaotic the gameplay is. This teleport function is probably the most important mechanic in the game if you're trying to be competitive. I don't believe this is a game that can really be in the competitive scene just due to how randomized it is and how much it leaves things up to luck, like during the button mashing segments. It's always different at certain times what buttons you have to hit to get out of the way of your opponent or break free from your attack. This is entirely up to chance, and because of that, I'm not entirely sure this is a game that you can really be very competitive at. But as a party party game, it is a lot of fun, so it doesn't need to be trying to get into the competitive scene. And I'm really glad that they weren't trying to make some new fighter that might be esports worthy, and instead were just focused on making a game that was fun. If they had the budget of the freaking Jump Force game, man, that game would have been so much better. But enough gushing about the gameplay, let's talk about the game modes where you actually played the game. There's an arcade mode allowing you to choose between 3 difficulties and take on a gauntlet of enemies, one after the other, unlocking lore, costumes, and a new character at the end. With hard difficulty feeling absolutely impossible at times, it is quite a jump from normal, I do have to say. I still haven't beaten arcade on hard, but as I improve, I hopefully can in the future, but the AI's reaction times and button mashing speed just feels inhuman to me. This is the only negative I actually have for the game. Hard difficulty is just too hard. It doesn't feel like it was tested for players, and the QTEs show up slower for the player than the AI reacts to theirs. It is unfairly hard instead of understandably hard, and I recommend patching in some kind of fix if possible, because I am 100%, I am 1000% sure that this is going to be a complaint among most of the people that play this game. These difficulties also are applied to 2 other modes, the 1v1 and the 2v2. This is where you can play either with friends in couch co-op or against AI. There is an online mode too, but as of time of recording, I've sat here for hours upon hours with crossplay enabled, and I have not found a single match in all that time. It is a dang shame, but I truly hope that this video can convince someone out there to give it a try. I would love to see you out here on the battlefield. They do have a Discord that you can join. If you want to match up with somebody, you can talk to people there that have the game and schedule times that you can play together. So hopefully as the community gets bigger, you could do stuff like that if you wanted to play with others. But for authenticity's sake, I decided to just try to do it as anyone else would and just sit here in the menu and try to find a player. And that is what I have to report. I never found anyone. Oh yeah, there's also a tutorial too. I probably should have mentioned that earlier. It can guide you step by step on how to play, as well as how to best utilize your abilities for combos, or you can look at the manual if you just want to read up on a quick refresher. The tutorial isn't character based, you can try out multiple characters in it, and I do think that is a missed opportunity due to how differently each character plays, but in terms of teaching you the basics, it does a pretty decent job. It is also anime as heck. There are a lot of anime references in the tutorial and in how you level up. As you gain XP and you level up, you get a new title, a new name at every level, and there's like pirate, there's quirkless, there's pocket monster, I think, stuff like that that really show that the people behind this actually care about anime, and that's where they get their references from, you know, in case the gameplay wasn't obvious enough. And I love the little Easter eggs where I can see that a title pops up and I'm like, oh, I watched that anime, or I know that reference. And sure, it is mostly references towards media that is big in pop culture, media that is popular. It's not like a bunch of niche stuff, so far anyway, but it is still nice. It's a little hint of love, and I gotta give them some credit for that. This is the perfect party game, honestly. It's up there with like Stick Boat and Gang Beasts as games that if I had friends over, I would love to play it with. Bro Force, games like that, where it's a lot of fun to just sit down with some homies, sit on the couch and play some games. But again, due to the AI feeling a bit, well, bad on the harder difficulty, it did hamper my enjoyment of the game on that front. Easy difficulty feels the most balanced in your favor, and normal is pretty balanced overall. It's just the hard difficulty that takes too many steps out of the realm of believability. So if you're playing couch co-op with a friend or two and you want to add in an AI, it's just not that fun. They're either going to be too easy or they're going to be too hard, and they just end up getting in the way. It's worth the $15 asking price regardless, and if you can find it on sale, then don't hesitate to buy it. It is a good time as long as you don't have the intention of hunting for the trophies or going for achievements. Hard mode really put a damper on that. For more news, reviews, and whatever we choose, stay tuned to Nerdsfeed. Have a great day. Thank you.